interfere with his personal life. But his mother said earlier that no matter who Batten chooses, a boy or a girl, his mother will always support him. And the main character, in turn, promised that as soon as he has someone, he will definitely tell her. These words literally finished off the guy because Kate really told it like it is. The student was already reaching for the red button to end their phone call. He wrote to the family council, asking how to divorce his own mother. And when he saw the message that Batten was adopted, he finally lost faith in family relationships. Also, the main character did not know how to respond to Kathleen's message, much less her selfie with his mother. After all, as soon as she sees how much his mother is trying to control his own life, she will immediately decide that Batten is a mama's boy. While the guy was spinning from side to side, the idea came to him that he could pretend that he had not received this message. The student immediately grabbed the phone and began typing a message saying that he had dropped the gadget into the water. He realized that it looked very ridiculous and hoped that the girl would not send this message again. But the main character was lucky, and Kathleen said that she would tell everything when she returned. The guy relaxed because he managed to slightly reset the timer on the bomb. All the same, no matter how you look at it, very soon Batten will have to explain himself. He also wondered how his mother was treating Kathleen now. After 2 days of the exhibition, the girls were looking at the paintings, and Kate wanted to thank Kathleen for her help. The young girl replied that it was she who should thank her mentor, because she had learned a lot from her. She also hopes that one day she can become a professional like Kate. Kate praised the young specialist and said that she would definitely surpass her. Suddenly, Jack appeared in the room, who also arrived as a representative of the Academy of Arts. He heard from his uncle that Kathleen helped Mrs. Kate with the paintings, so the guy suggested relaxing because he had already booked something. Mistress Kate was very angry with him and thought that Jack was harassing her assistant. The blonde tried to get out of it, hiding behind his uncle, who was Kathleen's boss. The woman asked what this guy wanted from the young girl, and he replied that he was going to take her out to dinner. Then Kate became furious because she again understood this as her ingratitude. Jack again tried to excuse himself by saying that he meant something completely different. He was also very frightened by Mistress Kate's gaze, and he did not understand why she attacked him like that. The woman interrupted their dialogue, asking Kathleen to take the paintings to the car. Already on the street, she asked the student if she had put him in his place harshly. The mistress immediately realized that Kathleen did not want to go to dinner with this boy, because he was putting pressure on her with his uncle. If she guessed right, then Jack deserved to be treated this way, and if not, then she could go apologize to him. The girl thought for a second and then said that her mentor had guessed everything correctly. Kate said that she sees right through these types because they immediately mention their relatives. And if a person starts a conversation by mentioning his important relatives, then he himself is nothing. The next moment, the lady suggested getting into the car and going to dinner, and Kathleen did not refuse. After a few hours, they were happy and full, and the girl commented on how delicious the food was. Kathleen's mentor suggested that she go shopping, because if she didn't go shopping after dinner, it could be considered a crime. In one of the boutiques, a young girl noted that this orange scarf suits Kate very well, and she wanted to give it to her mentor in exchange for the experience she received from her. The lady asked if she didn't mind the money, because it cost $10,000. But there was no need to worry about Kathleen, because she was already earning a little money herself. In turn, Kate wanted to donate a bag, to which the student replied that she did not need it. For the mistress, the word "not needed" did not exist, because if it is not useful today, then it will definitely be tomorrow. And if every girl says that she doesn't need them, then no one will buy them. A bag is a reflection of the soul, the main attribute of style, and a manifestation of female individuality. The woman also recommended adhering to the principle that only the best suits her. After this moral, she turned to a counselor and asked for help. Kate pointed to 2 handbags, and the girl serving her thought that these were the only ones she took. But the lady said that everything needs to be packed except these 2. This statement shocked the consultant, because they had never bought so many positions from them before. She was asked not to stand, but to bring all the clothes and shoes from the latest collection. Kathleen was also shocked, because the receipt for this purchase was huge. Then Kate asked not to call her Mrs. because just call her Mom. This only meant that the woman was offering Kathleen to become her daughter. The girl, of course, had heard about Kate's eccentricities before, and during the exhibition they got along well. Of course, Kathleen admires her, but she couldn't believe what Kate was saying. She didn't know what she could answer and what she couldn't because it was her first time. While the girls were waiting for their shopping to be packed, Kate said that she needed a daughter with whom she could share secrets. She is very pleased to be in her company. It's easy to be with her, like with family. Kate really wants Kathleen to be her adopted daughter, and asks if that's what the girl wants. Everything turned out to be not at all as serious as the student imagined. In truth, she has a lot of respect for Mistress, and Kathleen is honored to be so appreciated. The woman closed her eyes and replied that she did not need a fan at all. She just needs to know for sure whether Kathleen agrees to be her daughter. Tears welled up on the student's face, and she said that she agreed to this proposal. The lady asked the reason for her tears, but she did not receive a clear answer. Kathleen added that she would need to talk to her parents about this. As for the things Kate bought, the girl cannot accept them, because they are too expensive. While not paying attention to things, the woman confirmed that this should be told to her parents. And speaking of things, Kathleen gave her an expensive gift, and she should give something back in return. Even if a student earns a little more than $10,000 a month, buying a scarf was still a strong blow to her wallet. For a wealthy woman like Kate, it cost nothing to buy all these things. In fact, the girl spent much more than the mistress. Her gesture was more generous. But then the mentor suggested another option, since Kathleen did not want to accept everything. She will choose 2 items from each category and 2 accessories for each item. Otherwise, Kate will be offended. The assistant had no choice but to agree, and the woman praised her. Then they began to choose which positions Kathleen would take. But the lady was distracted from this activity by a notification on her phone. Batten wrote to her, asking if she had done anything out of the ordinary. She was so carried away by her daughter that she completely forgot about her son. It was strange because he likes her name Daughter. I wonder if he will be very upset when he finds out that he has a little sister. After imagining this for a second, Kate giggled. It was such an exciting picture. She replied to her son that his mother knows the boundaries of what is permitted, and he should not worry. Kathleen wrote to him that something unimaginable had happened to her. Judging by her high spirits, the girl was clear that Batten's mother had not done anything crazy. The guy in turn said that things were going well for them, and tomorrow he was going to stream from a charity fair. Kathleen congratulated her friend on his medals and called him a great fellow. The next day at the stadium, the main character took the phone and turned on the broadcast. The audience was unhappy because there would be no action at the fair. No one liked this format. But the student, rubbing his nose, knew exactly how to get the audience's attention. He headed to the fair area where the animation department's booths were located. A girl with pink hair appeared in the frame and greeted all the customers. The main character had a question about who needs this junk. Suddenly an idea appeared on how to please the audience and move forward in fulfilling the spender. He told the audience that he was ready to give them the goods that they liked so much. This was not a prank, just write your name and the item you like. A user with the nickname Tender Mister received a poster with a hero from a popular anime. His girlfriend's boyfriend got a pillow, and Batten asked if he was going to give it to his girlfriend. The student gave some people figurines based on their favorite anime, and some gave them t-shirts. One viewer even saw an incomprehensible green snake that stabbed heavily. After some time, the main character lay among a mountain of gifts and said that he needed to send addresses for delivery as soon as possible. His rest was interrupted by a bouquet that was shoved almost right into his face. The blonde wanted to express gratitude on behalf of the entire fair with this bouquet. From such sharp attention, Batten was confused because it was the first time he heard his new nickname. The girl added that the bouquet would cost $100, and she needed to pay for the purchase. The main character already thought that he had been scammed as a child, but the blonde just wanted to get him wechat. Not only does she call Batten so stupid, but her jokes are also moronic. He replied that he only had one wechat, and if he gave it away, he would be left with nothing. The crowd surrounding them fell silent for a second, but soon there were grins. They started laughing because Batten masterfully laughed at the girl. One guy even shouted that Lyolka fell in love with the main character. He shouted to the student about his love for him, as if recalling his past. Everything would have been fine, but John was very embarrassed by male voices. Then Annie, the Academy's most famous crossdresser, appeared among the crowd, and Lyolka asked to be added in the Y-chat, and the guy realized that he was putting her in an awkward light. Since this is already happening, he should have acted like a gentleman. The satisfied girl soon ran away from him in the opposite direction. But for some reason, the main character still had the feeling that he had been scammed again. In the dorm, discussion of Batten was considered one of the hot topics among the girls, and a couple of times it almost came to a fight. Although the guy remains a little overweight, he behaves very actively and is visible everywhere. But many began to consider the main character attractive only after they saw how popular his stream was and how much money he spent. His shares on the market for available guys have increased greatly, in price little one can no longer afford them. The girl was sad because she didn't muster up the courage and didn't come up to him like that Lyolka cosplay girl. Previously, the attention of the opposite sex was on the list of the main character's most cherished desires. Now he wants reciprocity only from one specific girl, and the attention of others makes him feel uncomfortable. At some point, Julia appeared at the stadium and asked how Kathleen would react when she returned. In fact, she is his mother's natural daughter, and he is adopted, but they were swapped in childhood. The girl asked not to talk nonsense because she came on business. She asked why he started publishing manga without first signing a contract with the platform. Julia knew this because one of the platform's editors was a former student of hers who wanted to contact him. A couple of days ago, she found a stream of the main character, where he was drawing a new chapter. The guy replied that if he signs a contract with the platform, he is unlikely to have such freedom of action. The teacher said that she would convey the words to the editor, and she considered Batten to be vain. He recalled that the animation department cooperates with the publishing house, and they can somehow help with the release. The girl asked to give her all his work, and she would show it to whoever needed it. But it is unlikely that the publishing house will try with all its might to quickly release some students' manga. The main character still wants to complete his work as soon as possible. Julia assumed that he had bet with someone over money, but the guy denied it. Then she asked why he was in such a hurry, and Batten muttered something in response. Julia also asked what the reason for his melancholy was. Maybe the fact that his mother was now with Kathleen was pressing on him. After these words, the girl left, and the student's thoughts were interrupted by a message on the phone. As it turned out, he completely forgot about the ball-throwing tournament. As soon as the student entered the gaming center, he was greeted by 4 maids, which shocked him greatly. He didn't understand why they called him the Steel Master. It was probably a greeting for all guests. The guy tried to remember the girls who were at the fair to see if they were the same ones. The main character recognized Lyulka, who gave him a bouquet at the fair. Then she called him Uncle. Now she cosplays as a maid, and he has become a master. Although the student did not immediately recognize her in the new suit, he still asked what they were doing here. The girls responded in unison that they had come to support their beloved master. Then the question arose of how they even knew that Batten would be at this event. Lyulka replied that she regularly watches the gentleman's streams and knows how well he throws balls into the basket. Last year she already worked at this tournament, so she immediately thought that the main character could take part in it. Seeing the expression on Batten's face, the girls realized that they had somehow upset their master. The rest of the tournament spectators said that this guy knows how to have fun. This was not considered too much, because during the competition at the academy, many more people supported him. And there were only 4 of them. The maids surrounded the main character and invited him to go to the tournament site. Batten wanted them not to overact, but if he didn't match them, he would look completely stupid. He said some catchy phrase and asked himself if he was playing the master well. This course of events, it turns out, was not according to the maids' scenario, and they did not know what to do. Immediately, the guy was bombarded with a huge number of phrases that he was unable to digest. Listening to these arguments, a plan for his own actions slowly matured. This was already somehow too harsh. They can't just wait for him at the entrance like dogs. Therefore, the main character winked at the maids and told them to come get him. The tournament venue had loud music playing and many men of different ages. Also, there was Steve, with whom Batten competed last time. He brought with him an assistant whom he thought was very cool. The guy's name was Fred. After Steve's last defeat, he shared this story with his old bro. Batten grinned and asked if he had brought him to take revenge. Steve himself had already passed the qualifying stage and came here only for their battle. The maid Lyulka said that she would mark the main character and he could continue to talk. Another maid ran to check the schedule, while the others brought cola and looked after Loaf. Some guy approached Batten's maid and asked her for Witch Hot, but she refused. The girls also refused all the guys who wanted to meet them. Because of this, the men got angry and ran around to tear up the master at the tournament. Lyulka proudly said that the maids are loyal to the main character not because he knows how to throw balls into a basket. This behavior brought Batten's rivals to the edge. They all wanted to humiliate him. It was clear that everyone was very burnt, and the student wanted to see what they would surprise him with. A few minutes later, the maids reported to Batten about the work they had done and gave him the cola. Opening a cold jar, the guy asked how the regulations at the tournament worked. One of the girls explained that the competition is divided into a group stage and a final. First 3 groups of 12 people simultaneously make throws. The highest results go to the final. By chance, the main character was assigned to Group C, number 6. After thinking a little, the student finally began to understand the conditions of the tournament. Suddenly, it turned out that Fred was also enrolled in Group C, but at number 7. This meant that the guys would have time to fight before the very end. Lyulka said that the participants of Group A would soon begin the competition, and asked if he forgot to do anything. The guy thought about what he could have forgotten to do before the start of the tournament. The fact is that he forgot to start a stream, because the audience really liked his last one, and collected a lot of views. Batten handed the phone to the maid and told her not to film strangers for a long time, because the audience would get bored. The maid replied that there was no need to worry, because she wouldn't be filming anyone other than the main character. Batten casually noted that Lyulka's own image had fallen apart. Immediately after the start of the broadcast, more than 1,000 people joined the stream. It seems that the student began to understand why the maids came with him, but he didn't care about their PR through him, because the tournament had already begun. After the fight, Steve said that in Group A there were only whipping boys. Among them, one guy scored only 100 points. Even children score more. Steve assumed that the guy just couldn't cope with his excitement. It turned out that this was the guy who most loudly threatened to tear up Batten. Turning around, he saw the main character in front of him, and his face turned pale. The dude began to ask for forgiveness because he thinks that from all these experiences, urine went to his head. In this case, the student offered him tissues in case urine rushed through his ears. Observing such a dialogue, Batten's maids chuckled quietly, proud of their master. Soon the whole crowd began to laugh at the guy, saying that the fat man didn't mince his words. The dude decided not to embarrass himself for a long time, and only told Group B to avenge him. The guys from this group promised to defend his honor and put the main character in his place. After some time, the competition in Group B ended, and the highest result, there was 591 points. John confirmed that this group did manage to perform a little better. Fred recommended that he give up this self-indulgence, because now they would show real class. The guy called the student because it was their turn, and Batten activated his superpowers. All four maids were rooting for their master with all their hearts, and one could clearly read envy and anger on the opponents' faces. They wanted to finish off this fat man and free the maids from the tyrant. The people shouted the last phrase many more times until the competition began. After the start, the main character easily threw the balls directly into the hoop without a single miss. His opponent noted that this fat guy is really not that simple. As soon as he slightly took his attention away from the ring, one ball immediately went past him. With 21 seconds remaining, Baton already had 547 points. During this time, Fred scored only 476 points. The spectators looked at what was happening with their mouths open and admired the student. After time had passed, the main character managed to score 791 points. His opponent, Fred, only scored 671 points. All the guys who hated Batten before froze in place after watching his results. The maids immediately ran up to the winner and began to look after him. Everyone else respected him so much as a rival, but the master had to die. The guy with glasses said that he was a little distracted in this game, so the student rejoices early. The main character advised not to be distracted anymore, otherwise he won't even make it into the top 3 in the finals. The finale was not long in coming, and from the first seconds, Batten demonstrated his speed. Once he's warmed up, it's time to give it his all and learn the limits of his skills. It only seemed to Fred that his opponent seemed to be throwing even faster, and as soon as the guy with the glasses was distracted, he immediately threw his ball past the ring. The student didn't care a bit about other people's opinions, and he worked to the maximum. After time expired, he was able to score 843 points and break his own record. The maids continued to admire him, and Fred began to wonder what kind of record had been broken. At that very second, a hard basketball hits his face, breaking his glasses. Steve immediately became concerned and asked if his bro was okay, covering his face with his hands. The guy angrily replied that it all happened because of the guy in the bandana. He in turn did not know what to answer, so he simply asked for forgiveness. But he was interrupted by Batten and said that Steve was not the operator, so it was not his fault. This infuriated Fred, and he said that if he had not complained about his humiliation, he would have qualified for the city tournament through the qualifying stage in his area. But no one dragged him here by force, and the question was whether this was the real reason why he did not pass the qualifying stage in his region. Judging by Fred's behavior, his nerves were not